Today, we're diving into the third chapter of James's letter from the Greek scriptures, and it's a really powerful look at something we all use every single day, but maybe don't think about enough: our speech. James uses some brilliant illustrations to show the incredible impact our words can have, for good and for bad.
So James kicks things off with this powerful image. Just think about it. A single, tiny spark, something that seems so insignificant, has the power to destroy an entire forest. He's not just throwing out a random metaphor here. This is the central idea for the whole chapter. He wants us to get the true scale of this power right from the very beginning. And there's the connection. Just like that spark, the tongue is a small part of our body, but its potential impact, it's massive. It can build people up or it can tear them down. It can create and it can destroy. So what James is doing is setting the stage to show us that the size of the source has absolutely no connection to the size of its effect. And to make this point even clearer, he uses a couple more examples from everyday life.
His first example? A powerful horse. You don't control an animal like that with brute force. You do it with a small bit in its mouth. With just that little piece of metal, a rider can direct the horse's entire strength and momentum. It's the perfect picture of how something tiny can control something huge.
Okay, next up, he points to a huge ship out on the open sea. It's being pushed around by strong winds, and it seems almost uncontrollable. And yet, what determines its entire course? A tiny rudder. The pilot uses that small device to steer the massive vessel exactly where it needs to go. The point is crystal clear. Small things can wield enormous power. And that brings us right back to the tongue.
All right, so now that we get just how powerful the tongue is, James completely shifts gears. He starts talking about its dangerous, destructive side. And get this, he's not talking about a problem for some people. He's saying this is a universal challenge that every single one of us has to face. Wow, I mean, this is one of the most intense descriptions of speech in the entire Bible. He calls the tongue a fire that stains the whole body. See, uncontrolled words don't just cause damage on the outside. They can corrupt us from the inside out. They can literally change the entire direction of our life. And when he says it's set on fire by Gehenna, that's a symbol for total, complete destruction. The warning here couldn't be more serious. So why is this such a big deal? Well, because the tongue is incredibly hard to control. James comes right out and says it. No human can fully tame it. He says it's unruly, dangerous, and full of deadly poison. But then he adds this really important dose of reality and humility. He says we all stumble in many ways. So this isn't about achieving perfection. It's about recognizing that the struggle is real for every single one of us.
And this brings us to what is a huge contradiction. How is it possible that out of the same mouth come two totally opposite things? One minute, we're using our words to praise Jehovah, our Father, and the next minute, we use that very same tongue to tear down a person who was made in the likeness of God. It's a paradox that, as James points out, just shouldn't happen.
He really drives this point home with a simple question. Think about it. Can a spring produce both fresh, clean water and bitter, undrinkable water from the exact same opening? The answer is obvious, right? Of course not. The kind of water tells you everything you need to know about the spring. And in the same way, the kind of words we use, well, they reveal what's really going on inside us, in our hearts.
So now, James gets right to the heart of the matter, and what he reveals is, well, it's kind of a plot twist. The problem with our tongue, it's not actually about our tongue at all. It's a heart problem. Our words are just the symptom of a much deeper issue, the kind of wisdom that's guiding our thoughts and our actions.
Okay, this slide is basically the main event of the whole chapter. James lays out this stark choice. It's like two different operating systems for your life. On one side, you have this earthly wisdom. And what does that look like? Jealousy, wanting to argue. You see it all over the place, don't you? The end result is just chaos and disorder. But on the other side, the wisdom from above. Where does that come from? From Jehovah God. And its qualities? Pure, peaceable, reasonable, merciful. Its result is a beautiful harvest of righteousness. The contrast couldn't be more clear.
And this quote just nails the outcome of that earthly wisdom. You see, jealousy and that need to argue all the time, they're not just harmless personality quirks. James says they are the breeding ground for disorder and every vile thing. It's a straight line, a direct cause and effect relationship.
All right, so if the problem is that earthly, messy wisdom, then the solution is actually pretty straightforward. We've got to actively go after its opposite, the wisdom that comes from above. And what's so great is that James doesn't just point out the problem and leave us hanging, he gives us a beautiful, practical path forward. And here they are, the actual building blocks of this heavenly wisdom. Think of it like a checklist for a life that's guided by God. It starts with being pure, having the right motives. Then it's being peaceable and reasonable, not always demanding your own way. It includes a readiness to obey, being full of mercy and good fruits, being fair to everyone, and being completely sincere, no hypocrisy. And this is so, so important. We're not just talking about a self-help guide or a list of nice personality traits. James is super clear that this wisdom comes from a specific source, Jehovah God himself. These qualities are actually reflections of his own personality. So when we show them, we're reflecting him. And that brings everything full circle. This is why taming the tongue is such a big deal. It's not just about being polite or trying to avoid arguments. It's about honoring the one who gave us the gift of speech in the first place. When we cultivate this wisdom from above and let it guide our words, we're actually reflecting the very character of God. Okay, so how do we take all this and make it, practical? For James, knowing something isn't enough. You have to do something with it. It's not enough to know about these two different kinds of wisdom. We have to consciously pick one and actually live it out. So let's look at how we can do that. And really, this is the question for all of us, isn't it? How does this ancient advice connect with my life right here, right now? How does it affect my thoughts when no one else is around, my feelings deep down, and most importantly, my outward actions and my words? So here's a simple 4-step game plan. First, control your tongue. Sounds simple, but it just means think before you speak. Second, avoid that earthly wisdom. That means actively fighting back against feelings of jealousy or that spirit of always wanting to argue. Third, intentionally develop heavenly wisdom. Practice being peaceable, reasonable, and merciful, especially within the Christian congregation. And finally, number 4, promote peace. Use your words to build people up and to bless them. And here is the beautiful payoff. James wraps up the chapter with this incredible farming metaphor. You know how a farmer needs peaceful, calm conditions to plant seeds and get a good harvest? Well, it's the same with righteousness. It grows best in an environment of peace. And who creates that peaceful environment? The ones who are actively making peace. Our words, they're the seeds we're planting every single day. So that leaves us with one final question to think about. When you really look at the impact of your words with your family, your friends, and in your congregation, what kind of fruit are they producing? Is it the fruit of disorder and conflict, or is it that beautiful fruit of righteousness that only grows when we sow seeds of peace?